I've worked in marketing for 15 years, and one of my favorite things to say whenever I see like a billboard or a television show or something that looks a little problematic is there were meetings about that. For the amount of people online who are clear as day, like, this is eugenics, oh my God, how could they do this? There are so many people who have an uproar about this. This went through so many people. This had so many meetings. Not one person was like, that might be weird. Not one of them thought that. That's crazy.
So Sydney Sweeney just dropped an ad that has the internet spiraling. Yes, this is the same girl who once sold soap with her actual bathwater. And no, this drama isn't over a new show or a scandal, it's over jeans. But there's many layers to it, no pun intended. Okay, if you've been on the internet over the last 24 hours, then you most likely have seen this ad. It's an ad that Sydney did in partnership with American Eagle, and it's literally everywhere right now, and so is the backlash. So let's talk about why people are seriously side-eyeing this ad. The campaign's big punchline was Sydney Sweeney has great jeans. And then plot twist, it's about denim jeans. You get it, wordplay. My jeans are blue, hers are great, talking about her actual genes, like her genetics.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
Now, many people were quick to call it out as tone-deaf and sexist, and the argument is that the ad reduces Sydney to a punchline about her body, playing into the very sexist she's spoken out against. And people are saying for an actress who's publicly vented frustration over not being taken seriously due to her curves, many saw the ad as ironic and not in a good way. But there's much more to this, you guys. People are pointing out the problematic notion with the phrase great genes, how it's not just a cute little pun. They're saying that it's loaded, like historically loaded, that line has been tied to harmful beauty standards, white supremacy, and even eugenics. Yeah, eugenics. For those who don't know, it's the messed up belief system that certain people have better genes than others, and that society should literally try to breed those traits into existence. It's not just a dark chapter in history, but a concept used to justify racism, ableism, and more. And people are saying when you look at who's being called the owner of great genes in this ad, it's your typical white, thin, blonde, blue-eyed woman. They're saying it's not exactly subtle, that it taps into an ugly, long-standing ideal of what's considered the default or superior beauty standard. Now, sure, on the surface, it might seem like harmless wordplay, but these messages don't exist in a vacuum. They reinforce who gets celebrated, who gets excluded, and what kind of beauty we're being told is aspirational.
This is American Eagle's most expensive ad to date, meaning that nothing in this ad was accidental. And there was a decision made about what cultural cues they wanted to sell to in this ad. More than a cheeky wordplay, it's a dog whistle. We are seeing the rise of fascism in America. And with this comes this rise of eugenics. To put it simply, eugenics is the belief that some people have better genes than others. I'll let you guess what people fall into which categories. And
I haven't talked about Operation Beige on here in a minute, mostly because I feel like we all know what to watch out for now. We're all aware. We do need to take a look at the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle campaign, because although this isn't paint swatch beige, it is actually a perfect example of the second E in Operation Beige, which, as a reminder, is an acronym for boring and engineered to identify with gentrification and eugenics. It's never just beige. I scrolled past these ads like 10 different times because number one, I am not shopping at American Eagle. Number two, I knew it was some bullshit. And number three, I just don't really care at all about Sydney Sweeney. This feels like as loud a dog whistle as we've had in retail marketing recently. And it just feels important to call out the Make Eugenics Sexy Again campaign strategy behind all of this. Because this is not Sydney Sweeney for Dr. Squatch bathe in my bathwater soap for men. And arguably this is not even an ad for denim. This is Operation Beige, and this is weird. Also a strange choice to follow up Sydney Sweeney has great genes with this profile view to display her perfectly European features. I work in advertising and choices are usually pretty deliberate. Anyway, I'm gonna go burn an Aerie bra or two. These A-cups are not gonna be missing much anyway.
Some people are even upset that this ad went through multiple levels of approvals with creative directors, brand managers, legal teams, and they're upset that everyone signed it off and they think that this was all intentional. And this TikToker's video went absolutely viral with over 400,000 100,000 likes, you guys. Dr. Santani, who's a Columbia University professor of narrative medicine and gender studies, weighed in with a more layered perspective. And she noted that while it's important to respect women's autonomy and how they present themselves, it's also necessary to ask deeper questions about what kind of images and messages brands are putting out into the world, especially when they're targeting young, impressionable audiences.
I'm Sayantani, an author of middle grade and YA books, which I mostly talk about on this app, but I am also a professor of something called narrative medicine. So I teach a lot about race, health, and narrative. And that is exactly why this ad is in my particular wheelhouse and why I will be putting it on my syllabus in the fall. So now, as many wonderful creators on this app have pointed out, this Sydney Sweeney ad is really imbued with eugenic messaging. Now, what is eugenics? If you don't know, I would highly recommend watching the Eugenics Crusade from PBS, which I have on my syllabi almost every year. But in short, it is the both pseudoscientific and immoral notion that we can improve the human race. We can help natural selection along by certain pseudoscientific practices, one of which is positive eugenics, so the encouraging of reproduction among people who possess certain positive or desirable characteristics, and negative eugenics, which is the discouraging of reproduction or even the killing off of people with certain negative traits. Now, the question, of course, the more moral question, of course, becomes who gets to decide whose traits are positive and whose traits are negative. Now, while we often talk about eugenics in the scope of race, I think it's really important to remember that eugenics is as much kind of a racialized, or it leans into as much racialized ideas of superiority as it does into ideas of ableism or kind of cis heteronormativity. Mental health, what was deemed criminal, is all also on this pile of undesirable traits. So if you want to know more about how positive eugenics happens, you need look no further than Fitter Families contests in this country in the 20s and 30s and even 40s, I think, where people were encouraged to bring their very white, able-bodied families. And at the same time, at a fair that you could, let's say, show off your giant pumpkin or your prize-winning pig, you could show off and get an award for your fit family. And in terms of negative eugenics, of course, the most prime example we have is World War II, where the people who did those things in World War II didn't come up with those ideas. They were inspired by American and British eugenicists. But in addition to kind of the killing off of undesirable peoples, we have seen throughout history and continuing to the present day, the forced sterilization, kind of the decrease of reproduction among undesirable communities. So we, not only in the American South, we know Fannie Lou Hamer talks about the Mississippi Appalachian.
TikTok creator and writer E.B. Johnson also chimed in, and her take racked up over 100,000 views because she pointed out that the ad felt eerily reminiscent of an old school Calvin Klein tagline: "The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code."
Everybody is talking about this new Sydney Sweeney advert and the eugenics of it all. But besides that, there is one part about it that really bothers me that I haven't seen a lot of people talking about, and it is specifically that I think this advert was meant to copy this.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways. Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations.
Now, what is the big deal about that? It's that these were a part of controversial ads with Calvin Klein and Brooke Shields, which started when Brooke Shields was 14. This is one of the adverts that was filmed when Brooke was 14. And Brooke has talked a lot about these because these adverts kind of set off a maelstrom in her life in which the media and the public at large started sexualizing her, again, as a child. And so to see Sydney Sweeney engaging in adverts which are meant to be a head tip to when a child was used in highly sexualized advertising to sell jeans, it's a problem. And we really have to question ourselves, why are these women so willing to engage in media and culture that promotes moments like this, that recalls moments like this for the bag?
On social media, opinions were divided. Some feel like it's not that deep, but many people are calling it out as tone deaf and sexist. Sydney is currently getting a ton of backlash all over social media. She will do anything for a check. Her and Cassie are the same person, and I cannot be told otherwise. I'm so tired of Sydney Sweeney. Many also pointed out a double standard, that if a male actor leaned into thirst trap marketing, for example, would the backlash be this loud, or would it just be praised as bold and confident? There's also the fact that Sydney knows she's a topic of obsession online, and she's publicly expressed how frustrating that can be. But this campaign felt like she was addressing the elephant in the room with a wink, but for many, it was a wink that landed wrong. So ultimately, this whole Great Jeans ad touched a cultural nerve, not just because of what it said, but what it represented. And in 2025, women in media are still navigating impossible contradictions like be confident, but not too confident, embrace your sexuality, but only ways deemed quote-unquote respectable, speak out, but don't make anyone uncomfortable. So what do you guys think about all of this? Was this campaign empowering or objectifying, or a little bit of both? Sydney has yet to address any of the backlash backlash. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I love you guys so much, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.